Welcome to Giant Ability TV.
The Sage of Insecurity in Nigeria. There are no better times for the Nigerian government to switch gears from the reactive kind of leadership to the proactive, especially in the light of the escalating and alarming spate of insecurity in Nigeria. The categorization of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by President Donald Trump did come to many Nigerians as a surprise. But should that be the case? The answer is no. Recall that President Trump, during his first tenure in office, did categorize the country in the same way. However, the most troubling part of President Donald Trump's pronouncement about Nigeria in relation to the acts of terrorism that have pervaded the country for decades was his allegation of genocide against Christians by the terrorists. The issue has created a pandemonium among Nigerians, leading to voices raised both in support and against the claim of genocide against the Christians. This has also elicited avoidable discourse on the volatile issue of religious intolerance in the country. In fairness to President Donald Trump and those in support of his claim, common sense demands objective interrogation and introspection, and had that been done properly, this saying would have sufficed that if it looks like a duck, it swims like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Going forward, since the problem of insecurity revolving around terrorism and banditry has lingered for a while and beyond a ninth and a season, with glimpses caught into the intricacies and the foe that has kept its fire burning, especially the sponsors of the act, and how complicit the Nigerian government has been, directly or indirectly, and the causation of why it has remained evolving and seemingly intractable.
Nigerians should be focused. We have a very, very serious problem. Nigeria is at the brink, especially as it concerns security. You must have an enabling environment in order to do anything. So you cannot take someone that is virtually senile and another person that has been associated on several occasions with funding terrorism. That is Kashim Shettima. Kashim Shettima, we should not forget Kabiru Sokoto. Kabiru Sokoto was one of the most wanted terrorists, and he was found and arrested in his house. Let us understand and let us not forget, this terrorism, this banditry, this carnage is not just happening by mistake. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
The solution to the problem has to be holistic, and the focus should be on the disease and not the symptoms. There is no gainsaying the fact that terrorism, banditry, and general insecurity in Nigeria is systemic and therefore deserves more than a sledgehammer and polished rhetorics to get to the root of the problem. The Nigerian government is serious and desirous of bringing an end to this monstrous challenge. It is long overdue, and the time is ripe for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to muster the political will to name and shame the sponsors of terrorism, beginning from those who are key players in his government. Recall how in March 2022, the U.S. Department of Treasury, in collaboration with the government of the United Arab Emirates in Dubai, named 6 Nigerians living in Dubai who were financiers of Boko Haram terrorists in Nigeria. These individuals were Abdurrahman Ado Musa, Saliu Yusuf Adamu, Bashar Ali Yusuf, Muhammad Ibrahim Isa, Ibrahim Ali Al-Hazan, and Surajo Abubakar Muhammad. They were found guilty of establishing a Boko Haram cell in Dubai and transferring a huge sum of money of about $782,000 to support Boko Haram in Nigeria. Some of them received life sentences, while others faced different penalties. Recall that as soon as that news broke, the Nigerian government responded swiftly by announcing that it had a list containing 400 names of the sponsors of Boko Haram in Nigeria and promised to prosecute them accordingly. This was in 2022 during the administration of late President Muhammad Buhari. Until date, nothing has been done in respect of the matter. There are prominent Nigerians, the like of the retired Navy Commando Kunle Olawunmi, who is now a professor in one of the private universities in Nigeria, who came on prominent Nigerian television channels and Arise TV to declare openly that there were sponsors of Boko Haram that he knew while in service, holding key positions in the government of President Muhammad Buhari, or their names were not mentioned.
The center of gravity of Boko Haram and insurgency in Nigeria are the sponsors of that program. It was beyond us, because the job we need to do is kinetics: fight, destroy places, resolve issues. Yeah. But we cannot resolve issue of sponsors of Boko Haram that were in Buhari's government, that we know them.
When you say we, who?
I was in the military intelligence, okay. And the defense headquarters staff that I work with, they know. And that was why we couldn't pursue that aspect that could have resolved that problem, because you need to arrest people. And recently, 400 people were gathered as sponsors of Boko Haram. Why is it that Buhari government has refused to try them?
Is this not a good time for somebody like him to be more audacious and someone encouraged to help Nigerians by calling them by their names? It is on record also that some of the key players in the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have allegedly been designated as both sponsors of Boko Haram terrorists as well as terrorists themselves. It is worthy of mention that some of the drastic measures adopted by the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a response to the demands placed on Nigeria by the President of the United States, Donald Trump, regarding the concerted efforts to bring an end to the problems of the alleged genocide against Christians in Nigeria to avoid a direct U.S. military intervention in Nigeria, which include the removal of top military officers and service chiefs, only amounts to scratching the surface, which cannot bring in the urgently needed positive results. The transfiguration of the former Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa, who was retired, replaced by the former Chief of Army Staff General Femi Oluyede, and subsequently appointed as the Minister of Defense, fit in for description as tactics which is a bunch of ploys and there is an end. In truth, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu succeeded in retiring General Christopher Musa and stripping off his military paraphernalia to avoid a possible military takeover. However, just as the 3 Hebrew boys in the Bible, including Daniel, had their names changed by the king of Babylon and not their spirits, General Christopher Musa will definitely remain consistent with telling the truth to power, especially while good governance is the most important weapon of war, especially against insurgency and banditry in the country. On a final note, with the insecurity situation in Nigeria, which is now unprecedented, especially with the abduction of more than 300 students from the St. Mary Catholic School in Niger State, a number that is the highest in the history of abductions by Boko Haram terrorists in Nigeria. It will definitely take more than whatever interventions that the Nigerian government had put in place were about to for any positive results to be realized. The problem of terrorism in Nigeria, with the present APC leadership and the country's complex structure, need the intervention of the United States to overcome. The idea of collaboration between the United States and Nigeria military may literally or otherwise be sabotaged and yield no positive results. It was tried before and it did not work, and nothing has changed drastically for the better that will make it work this time around. Nigerians, at this juncture, are called to do a loss and gain analysis, weighing what to lose or gain by allowing United States to come in and wipe off the terrorists, and not allowing that to happen, but choosing to allow the terrorists to expand their impact on the country. This is likened to a choice between life and death. And my advice is that Nigerians should choose life, that we may live for the country to exist. As a matter of urgency, the Nigerian government is urged to openly identify, name, and address the issue of the sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria to foster accountability and to build public trust. However, it is important that the government ensures that the process is transparent, fair, and not weaponized for political gain. This will help in the counter-insurgency efforts of the government. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you for watching.